I'm going to introduce our next speaker. I'm really excited to have Nathan Brown with us here today. If you've been to any soil health meetings in the state, then you know his name. He's really a great social media presence also, and he's doing not only is he doing work on his farm and promoting soil health, but he's doing some really important work with farmer mental health. So thanks, Nathan, for being with us today.
Well, thank you. Appreciate the opportunity to be here. Again, farmer from Southwest Ohio, first generation farmer. Found out real early in my life that my passion was for farming and for agriculture, and have been blessed with many opportunities over the years to be involved in the industry. And I realized real fast after my kids were born that the world wasn't about me. It was about them and making their future bright, which includes building community and trying to make my community around me as strong as possible. So that's why I get out every day and I advocate for agriculture, advocate for soil health, advocate for mental health. And so Stephanie asked me today to talk a little bit about mental health, and I think it's really cool. We're here talking about soil health. If you guys took Jeremiah's presentation, and anywhere he said soil health, you insert mental health, there is so much of a relationship between the two when you really think about it. So what is mental health? It's a person's condition with regard to their psychological and emotional well-being. It's basically, how do we function on a day-to-day? How do we feel on the inside? And just like you guys, when we go talk about soil health, driving down the road at 55 miles an hour, you can't tell what the soil health of that field is. Just like me standing here looking at Craig, I can't tell what his mental health is. I know what his mental health is, but I can't tell it just by looking at him. And so why is this important to be talking about today? Is there any stresses in agriculture these days? I mean, input prices are low, commodity prices are high, we're all raising 500 bushel corn, we have the greatest soil health ever. If y'all live on that planet, please give me the address, because that's not where I live. Where I live, I've got guys going around castrating ground away from my peers that may make them not be able to farm next year. I'm struggling on trying to figure out how I'm going to put a crop in the ground next year and come out with a profit on the other end of it. I'm struggling. I've had 2 landlords in the last 2 weeks call me up and say, I want to sell my farm. I want you to have first opportunity, but if you're not going to buy it, it's going to somebody else. My wife's grandparents both are almost, well, her grandpa is 91, her grandma's 88. Both of them are in the last stages of their life in the next couple weeks. Life is hard. My son, my great son, I love my kids, I do, I really do. We got a call last week from his teacher. He has an 18% in ELA. I didn't even know you could get an 18% in a class. I mean, like, I know I'm not the smartest looking guy, but when I went to school, I didn't excel in school. I didn't try, but I never was an 18% student. And neither is he. And the same thing with him. I mean, he's in 6th grade. I have twin boys. I have twin boys and a little girl, 18 months apart. So to kind of give you a little bit of context of my household, it's crazy every day. If you guys want to see an elf doing the Gifford Shuffle or whatever it is off Fuller House, I can show you a picture or a video of my daughter this morning doing that. Our life is hectic. But In my 20, let's see, I've been farming for 20 years now. This is my 20th crop I put in the ground. I don't know that I have ever worried or struggled about what next year is going to look like worse than I have in the past 6 or 8 months. I've never worried about or thought about, will I still be farming tomorrow? It was always full bore ahead. Nothing was going to stop me. Nothing was going to stand in my way. And there's challenges out there. And I would be the first to admit that I've struggled. You guys, a little bit about my background. My family, as I said, first generation farmer, my family didn't grow up or didn't farm. I grew up, we moved. Luckily, I had the opportunity to move next to a guy that did farm. When I was 8 years old, I started crawling through the fence to walk behind a tobacco setter. And he kind of took me under his wing, got into 10, 11 years old, started working for him on a regular basis. Got out of high school trying to figure out what I was going to do. He said, hey, you want to stick around, get you started farming? I never dreamed that I would ever have the opportunity to do that, but I did. And he gave that to me, him along with a couple other neighbors. But he passed away. He passed away last December on the last day of the year, and he was 80 years old, 81 years old, had cancer. He was very private. He didn't even tell me what was going on with him until, last month. But this past year, I've struggled. I've struggled with that, along with everything else that happens. And, I kind of tried to figure out, how do I work through this? Because I've been speaking about mental health. Actually, the day that I had my breakdown, I was standing over in Greensburg, Indiana, giving this very similar speech to a group about mental health, and inside I was falling apart. And I went home that night, and I told my very loving wife, I said, I've got to do something. And so I scheduled an appointment with my general doctor, which is a very good friend of mine. I went to school with her, and I went into that appointment and said, hey, I'm struggling. I need some help. And I don't know. I know where to go, but I don't know where to go. Because there's a stigma around mental health. We'll talk about soil health all day long. But how many times do you guys want to talk about your mental health? Other than Craig, because Craig cries on my shoulder. And if it's not Craig, it's Jeremiah. And if it's not Jeremiah, then it's... No. I have a group of peers around me that I know that I can trust when I need help. And they know if they need something, that I'm here for them. But I went to that doctor's appointment, and I told her, I said, I need help. And so, as much as we all think there's the stigma around medicine, just like there's a stigma around using chemicals or whatever else, sometimes those tools are necessary. And I will stand here and tell you guys that I had to be put on some medicine to help me regulate myself. And because the anxiety that comes along of not knowing what's going to happen tomorrow, am I still going to get to farm all this ground? Is my kids going to look at me like I'm a failure? All those things are real thoughts. And I'm sure you guys have all had those thoughts at one time or another in your life. And guys, anxiety is nothing more than a natural fear process that jumps in everybody's head. But if it's prolonging, if it lasts more than a few minutes or hours, if it continues on for days and days and days, then there's an issue. And a lot of times along with anxiety comes depression. And I know that at this time of the year, I I hate wintertime. It's dark at 7 o'clock when I put kids on the bus, and it's dark at 5 o'clock when I get them off the bus. Depression in this time of the year absolutely just kills me. And when you get to the point where you find yourself sitting in the pickup truck at the grain setup, where you was all excited to go sweep out bins because that's all of our favorite jobs, and then you look down at your phone because you've been on TikTok for 3 hours and realize that you've not accomplished anything for the day, or that you don't even get out of the house some mornings, then there might be an issue. And what do we do about that? As farmers, we're all told to suck it up, buttercup, because you're the provider. And we spend so much time alone that we forget how to communicate sometimes. We've got to get around that stigma, because there's not one of us at some point in time that has not struggled. And I know agriculture, more than any other industry, we struggle. There are so many forces that are against us. So many things that everything almost is out of our control in agriculture and farming. Whether it doesn't matter if you're grain farming or if you're livestock, we have no control over markets. We have no control over our inputs. We have no control if we get a disease. We have no control if we have livestock that get sick. And yeah, I admire each and every one of us because we all persevere through those challenges. But sometimes those challenges are more than what we can handle by ourselves. And so if there's that opportunity to go talk to somebody, don't be afraid to do that. And it doesn't have to be a mental health professional. Jeremiah was talking about peer groups. Peer groups, to me, I have several sets of peers and groups, whether it's a chat group. I have a chat group with friends of mine from Missouri, Nebraska, I don't know, there's 4 or 5 states. All of us are on a chat group together. And something happens, something goes wrong, we chat each other, text each other. We're there for each other. I've got a group here in Ohio, Craig's one of them, Jeremiah's one of them, that if I need somebody to talk to, those are the guys I call. Please, guys, get those people in your lives. Be willing to talk to them. Be willing to share what is going on with you. Because you are not your farm. My farm goes under tomorrow. As much as it's the only thing in the last 20 years of my life that I have spent every day working on, I know that farm doesn't define who I am. Sometimes life that's life. Nothing in this life is guaranteed. And be on the lookout for your friends. And a lot of you guys have probably heard this story, but I had a friend of mine a few years ago call me up out of the blue and say, "Hey, I got hogs loose." He was running some hogs in pasture, and he was 10 miles up the road from me. It's not like I'm next door neighbors to him. So it was out of the ordinary for him to have called to say, "Hey, come help me get these hogs back in." And so I knew just by that phone call that was out of the ordinary. And so I went. I dropped what I was doing because I knew that he needed something more than just getting the hogs in. And so I got there and I helped him. We fixed the fence. And the first thing you want to do is kick me out. Get out of here. I'm fine. Brandon, you're all fine. So I can look around the barn lawn. You've got manure piled up. You've got machinery sitting everywhere that's broken down. Just everything here is in a mess compared to what it normally is. What is going on? And he looked at me, and then I see the tear come to his eye, and he started talking. And I stood there for almost an hour, just listening. I didn't listen to respond to him like we all do. I just listened to hear what he had to say. And I never once pushed him. He brought it all out on his own. And we got to that conversation, and I looked at him and I said, Brandon, toughest thing I've ever done in my life, because I was scared for it. I said, Brandon, are you? You're not thinking about hurting yourself, are you? You're not thinking about suicide today, are you? And my heart just sank when I said that, because I never thought in this world I'd ever say that. And he looked at me and he says, not today, but I have in the past. But not today. I said, okay. I said, well, we got time. We can fix this. I said, I am more than happy to sit here and listen to you. I will, but I'm not a trained mental health professional. And if all you need is to talk, then that's great. But I think, from what I'm hearing, you need more than just to listen to me, or just to talk to me and me to listen to you. And so I said, there's a Hope House counseling center in the southwest corner of our county. I said, I think you need to call and make an appointment there. Will you do that for me? Yeah, I'll do it. And I went home that night, and I was in knots, because I was scared. I mean, he told me, because, again, he can tell me whatever he wants to tell me. I still don't know what's going on inside of his head. So the next morning, I had some errands to do in town. I got done in town, and I drove out to his farm, and he was out in the driveway working. I said, you did make that phone call this morning, didn't you? Well, you know, I got busy doing this and this and this. Brandon? I said, no. You need to make that call, because you are struggling. Whether you want to admit it or not, I'm going to admit it to you. You are struggling more than what I can help you with. And so I waited there in the driveway while he went in the house and got the phone number and called. And I told him, I said, if you need somebody to go with you, if you need somebody to hold your hand, I'm there with you, brother, all day long. No, I'll get it. And of course, like I said, it's clear down in the southern part of the county, down in the foothills of Appalachia. It's nowhere where you think you're going to run into anybody you ever know. And he told me, after his meeting that day, he said, you know what? He said, I drove down there, and even after I told you I was going to go, I got there and started turning the driveway, and I looked and I seen a pickup truck that I recognized. I couldn't do it. He's not driving up the top of the hill. I said, well, then what'd you do? He's like, your voice popped in my head. He's like, I need to go. I know I need to go. He turned around and he went down there, and today he is one of the biggest advocates for mental health right beside me that I know. He's been several places speaking, and he's one of those guys that you would never dream would speak about this. So guys, I don't know what to tell you. I do know what to tell you. It's okay not to be okay. It's okay to struggle. It's not okay not to get the help you need. It's not okay to struggle by yourself. It's not okay to struggle in silence. Spouses, see several spouses in the room here today. You see your partner struggling, say something. Guys, if you see your neighbor struggling, say something. I mean, and it's not, hey Craig, how you doing today? Oh, I'm doing okay. And let it go at that. You know, guys, in your heart something is not right. Push it. You're not going to push somebody over the edge by asking them questions, or asking them if they're thinking about suicide, or asking them how they're, what's going on. And just listen. As a society, we've gotten away, and COVID and everything else has compounded the issue of mental health. We forgot how to love our neighbors. We forgot how to be there for each other. I encourage you all, there's nothing more heartbreaking than knowing somebody felt that they were to the point where they couldn't stand life anymore and they take their own life, knowing all the great things that they have to offer everybody else that they don't see. Because our heads, our minds, is a crazy place. It will tell you the deepest, rankest, dirtiest lies about yourself. And that's what it is, guys. It's lies. It's just our minds playing tricks on us. So, love each other, call each other, check on each other. Why is mental health real? Yes, it's real. We don't all want to admit it, we don't all want to talk about it, but mental health is as real as soil health. And a lot of people don't think soil health is real. But we all in this room know that it is. So reach out, help one another, be there for one another. I went over my 10 minutes, but Jeremiah cut me short, so. Do you guys have any questions? Do you guys have any, if anybody wants my contact information, I'm more than happy to share that with you guys. I had a slide presentation, I was going to use it, and then it was supposed to be 10 minutes, and then Jeremiah took me up here for half an hour, so I didn't put it up. But what questions do you guys have? And again, I'm not trained in mental health. I'm not a mental health professional. I am QPR trained. I am a mental health first aider. If you guys have had an opportunity to take either one of those courses, I suggest that you guys do. If you are part of an organization, I suggest you talk to your higher ups in your organization and get the training for the people in your organization, because it can save a life. Yes, sir.
I'd like to know what was it at 11 years old as a new first generation farmer that made you climb to the hole in the fence?
I don't know. I think growing up, I used to watch my cousins around us when we lived in another place. I used to watch them farm all the time. The fascination with tractors and crops and planting and growing and nurturing just attracted me to it. And then when we see the neighbors over there setting back, and I knew that there was an opportunity for me to go over there and just be around people and be around something that I love. And once I was there once, I was hooked. And you couldn't get me, I was like fly to the light. You could not keep me away. And today, there's nothing more that I want to do than be involved in farming and agriculture and growing. There's nothing more that I love than going out in the spring with a shovel and digging up and seeing how many earthworms I got and looking at my roots roots, and thank you. My mycorrhizal fungi and all that good stuff that comes along with the soil health, looking at my aggregates, and I mean, that just, and I'm a dirt sniffer, I'm sorry. I didn't raise my hand earlier, Jeremiah, but I will have to admit I'm a dirt sniffer. There's nothing better to me, and I've always been that way. There's nothing, I used to say there was nothing better than the smell of fresh turned dirt. Well, then I come to light, and I've seen the light, and now I know there's nothing better than the smell of rotting radishes in the wintertime. Any other questions? Thank you, guys. Just again, I'm not scared to say, I love you, Jeremiah. I love you, Craig. I love you guys. I text people and challenge you guys, something that I do often and randomly. On a Friday morning, go through your phone, pick out 4 friends, send them a text. It can be a meme, it can be a TikTok, it can be whatever, and just put on there, love you, brother, or love you, sister, so that they know that you're thinking about them. That can turn somebody's day from being the crappiest day ever to one of the best days ever. I'll tell you, this morning I did it. I got the text group. Jason Meadows is a friend of mine over in Missouri, and I sent him a text at, well, it'd been 5:30 his time, 6:30 here, thinking I wasn't going to get a text back. And shortly later, he sends me a text back, said, hey, thank you, brother. I needed that this morning. I'm sitting in the middle of the road. The duals just fell off the back of the truck, and I'm stranded. He said, I was having a crappy day, and it's still going to be crappy, but because of you, you made it better. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Oh, wait a minute. One more question. Yes, sir.
As a first-generation farmer, you're kind of like all the other entrepreneurs in the United States. And you have a love for something, and the next thing you know, you turn around and you feel like you're buried. You're trying to come up for air, and you get a gasp, and then you go back down and you're churning. And the help that you sought, is there something that you can share that you identified in your life, whether it was maybe you're an unorganized person? I've got those kind of friends in my life that are trying to be entrepreneurs, but they're just not real organized, and that's their biggest obstacle that they have. What was it that you might be able to share that was in your life that helped, as you recalibrated it, take a different perspective and get things back on rail?
So really a lot of the when I started, and I guess I didn't quite finish. I did went through my medical doctor, I got a prescription, and then I also, through her recommendations, I started seeing a therapist. And I guess really through that process, she really helped me to focus on the things that I can control and try not to put as much emphasis on the things that are outside of my control, and to take time and breathe, because we all get wrapped up in the rat race, and we all sometimes just forget to breathe. And a lot of times it's just as simple as doing a breathing exercise that can take you from this anxiety peak or depression gully and will help you center yourself back. So I think that out of everything that we talked about and went through during my sessions, I think just taking the time to breathe was my biggest thing. Thank you for that question. Yes, ma'am. My information, my name is Nathan Brown. My cell phone number is 937-402-7536. It is on 24/7. My email, if anybody needs it and can't find it, is brownfarms04@yahoo.com. Yes, ma'am.
Here, all we already know about this, that earthing or grounding, there's a documentary on YouTube that might be helpful. I know for me, walking around with my bare feet, when we come back from vacation, we feel so energized. One of the reasons is because we're not connecting to the earth. And go home, try it. I'm telling you, and just like you were saying, just kind of stand there and just breathe. It makes a world of difference.
Yeah, and I found that when I get really stressed and my anxiety is peaked, I go out and take a walk through the cover crop field and just go out and dig or go out and sit in the field and just be with nature. Just be with the bugs underneath the dirt. That's what I'm all about. And just the sense of connecting back has such a relieving, calming effect on me. So thank you for that comment. Dennis?
No, and I've been through quite a spell and got word about trying it. And I did. I laid in the yard, shirt off, people come by, they're like, what the, are you okay? But I did it. I had to do it. Because during our fair, it's a big time for us. I'm involved there. I told the guys in the fair board, I said, you see me come up messing, I'll be gone. If I'm under the shade tree, I'm fine, And I did. I just breaks during the day. You just have to do it because it re-energizes you under the level of just everything going on. So it's true. It helps. It does sound crazy, but it's not crazy. Because I'm here to tell you, I'm 100% better than I was 12 months ago.
Like I said, it's not woo-woo, it's true.
So
I've even heard of people that have encapsulated soil and ingested soil caplets and stuff, for different things. And I think there is such a connection back with the soil and back with our body and our systems. So, anything else? Once, twice. If not, Jeremiah's got all the rest of the questions the rest of the day. And with that, thank you. Thank you, Stephanie. I appreciate the opportunity.